Let's discuss putting in a strong, fair offer on a property. Hey there, I'm Christy Henshaw. I'm a local realtor here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I love talking about real estate. I would love it if you would comment or like and subscribe. It'll help push this content out, and I'd really appreciate that so much. Let's get started. Before I get to the components of a strong offer, I wanted to preface it by saying that hopefully if you're a buyer, you're working with a real estate agent who's going to show you a CMA, a comparative market analysis, just based on properties around the one that you're wanting to put an offer in on. Now, the properties that you'll be looking at they've sold, so you know the sold prices, recently sold prices. You're going to look at current buyer activity, and you're going to look at the condition and age and similarities that other properties have based on the one that you're wanting to put an offer in at. And putting all this information together, you're going to study it, and your realtor will kind of give you this range, this price range of where they think you should be. And then based on that information, you're going to come up with a fair offer. And this video is not really for investors who are trying to come in low and lowball it. This is for people who have fallen in love with the property and they want to put in a strong offer so that they got a good chance of actually getting into that property. So first things first, you want to make a good impression. And so one way to do that is with earnest money. So here in Texas, typically earnest money is 1% to 2% of the offer price. One way you can go about it to make a strong offer is you can go 2% or even higher, just to show the seller that you mean business. Because once you've made it past the option period or the inspection period, there are outs in the contract, but they're very specific. So it's not like you can just walk away and take your earnest money. Some of those outs you would lose the earnest money. And so once you've made it past your inspection period, and you've got a good earnest money down payment, you're showing the seller that you're very, very serious. And next, I would say, most, I don't actually know if this is true, but I would say most people require a lender. They have to get a mortgage to be able to purchase a large property. But sometimes you've got cash buyers. And if you're able to do that, you absolutely should be a cash buyer, because from a selling standpoint, the seller will not have to deal with the lender. And by that I mean they won't have to deal with appraisals. They won't have to have this wait period waiting for the lender to approve the loan. And so if you're cash, money talks, and you're able to close as quickly as the seller wants to. And so that's another way you can have a strong, it's just not everyone can do that. Let me go back a little bit and talk about the option period. So in Texas, we call it the option period. Other states, it's called the inspection period. But if you could have a shorter option period, that's even better. But the way to do that is you kind of have to have who you're going to call for your inspections ready to be scheduled, ready to move, because I would say probably before COVID, inspection periods, the option period was maybe 7 to 10 days. And then when the market got crazy, it got down to 3 to 5 days, and which is very appealing for a seller. And the reason is, the shorter the option period, if the buyer comes in at the end of the option and they say, we're out, we don't want to stay in this transaction, that's less time that the seller has had their house off of the market. And so if your option period was 3 days and you come back and you say, no, I don't want it, well, they were only off the market for 3 days. Now, if it's 10 days, that's a whole different story. So I hope that makes sense. When your inspection or your option period can be less, you got to have it ready to go, because you got to be able to schedule those inspections very, very quickly. But it's better. It makes your offer stronger. Another thing you could do is just be willing to close quickly, especially if you're cash. Close as quickly as you can, or if the lender's able to close quickly, just be flexible with closing. And one way you could do that is a lease back. If have your agent reach out to the listing agent and ask, is there anything that the seller's needing? Most of the time, the seller's just wanting more time to get out of their house and be, have it prepared and ready. And so you could offer a lease back. And if you could make that lease back free, that's a huge thing. That's a really, really strong component of a strong offer. And if you could just remember to keep your contingencies to a minimum, like the less that you're kind of demanding on the buy side, the better. I'm trying to think of different ways. You could also, in the Texas contract, there could be a residential home warranty. And it's a small thing, but you could just forego that. Just say it's no big deal, because those things, you can get one on your own. They're not that expensive, but it's just another way of showing the seller that you're willing to work with them. And yeah, if you can think of anything that I'm not thinking about, I would love it if you would comment and we could kind of keep this conversation going, because I'm hoping that it'll help people. So that's kind of all that's in my mind today regarding this topic. If you want to know more just in general about real estate, you can go to my website. It's christyhenshaw.com. Click on the different links for buyers. I've got different videos and information that you can see there. And reach out. If you've got questions, I'm happy to answer them. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will talk to you guys next time.